So, talk to me about reversing. What do you know about reversing? Or think about reversing?
Don't know.
Don't know.
Well, you're going backwards.
Going backwards? Cool, that's a good start. Yeah? How's that going to change what you're doing as a driver?
Most of my attention's going to be what's behind me. Obviously, still is at my front, but
Still, yeah, you're right, particularly on the roads. You need to know, well, any time, I suppose, actually. You need to know what's in front, but you're going to be upping that level of awareness behind you. Good. How are you going to do that?
mirrors
Mm-hmm.
and looking either to right shoulder.
Cool. What are the benefit you getting from looking over your shoulders versus the mirrors?
Especially these ones, you can't really see like the back of the car.
Mm-hmm. So when you look over your shoulders, what you seeing? What's extra you're seeing? What do you mean?
Kind of, you can see more down the car, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. What about from a safety aspect rather than being able to see your own car? How we're
The
looking.
other cars.
So if you have a look in your mirrors now,
Mm-hmm.
just have a little scan around on what you think you can see, and then just have a look over your shoulders for me, over the two. Can you see how much more
You can see a lot more kind of field of view's wider.
Yeah, I suppose it's a bit like getting one of those, like a camera, instead of it being like a pinpoint camera, it's
Yeah.
wide angle, isn't it? Good. So yeah, you can see how we're going to be using that to make sure we stay safe. Good. So the whole point behind that conversation is just to make you realise that it's not going to just be using those mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
You said look in the mirrors. Do you mean the big like wing mirrors that we've got here, or are you talking about these little circly ones?
Mostly the big ones.
Okay. What might be the benefit? Why do you think I've got these little circle mirrors?
Because you can also see a bit further, I think.
What else can you see in them that might be helpful if you're parking in a car park or
You
next to
can
a
also
curb?
see the lines or the curb.
Yeah, that you said you can probably more accurately
Yeah.
see where the car is. Cool. So reversing. Okay, so we've got the whole. We're going to be safe. We're going to look over our shoulders. We're going to make sure we're safe. Okay. What about control and maneuvering the car? Have you got any ideas on that? Like any thoughts on how that's going to work?
Doesn't it use the brake pedal?
Go on. What do you mean?
So obviously when you move it off, you have your foot on the brake pedal.
Mhm.
So when you put it in reverse, then when you lift your foot off, it starts to move.
So in this car, yeah, it'll move itself, unless you're going up a steep hill, then you might need a bit of gas. So the brake's going to be like on off to try and keep us under control. Speed wise, what are you thinking when we do this? When we do reversing?
Slow. Very slow.
Very slow. Good. Give yourself time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about steering?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be reversed.
What do you mean by that?
So when you turn right, you go left, or like the car swings out there. How to explain it?
Okay. Let me try this then. If I wanted you to reverse towards that hedge over there, which way would you turn that way? Can I suggest you? The best thing to do is look over your shoulder
Yeah.
at the hedge. It'll make it easier to make the decision. What do you reckon?
Turn right.
So it's not opposite actually, is it?
No.
No. I get it. The front's opposite. So when you turn right, the front will go left. But we don't really care about the front.
Yeah.
Because we're going backwards. So you steer where you want the car to go. Okay. Right. First thing we're going to do then is experiment with that. So first we're going to make sure we're safe, as we always do before we move forwards. We're going to make sure we're safe before we move backwards. And then I just want to sort of reverse over there and have a little play with what it feels like with the steering, okay, and how it affects the car.
Mm-hmm.
Not really aiming for anywhere particular, doesn't really matter. We'll just do a bit of reversing, see where we end up. Just want to sort of move the steering wheel, see how that turns us and what happens, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let's pop it into reverse. Engine obviously.
Yeah. It's
Yep. So the handbrake has stayed on, which is fine. You just means you have to touch the gas to get us initially moving. So before we move, yeah, if you come off the brake, you won't move.
Yeah.
So you're just going to touch the gas to make us move and then keep us under control. Okay. Anybody around before we go?
not that I can see now.
Okay. Good. That's it. Now get us back under control with that brake pedal. Okay. Where do you want to go?
Do you want me to go that way?
Why not? Go. So you've added more steering there. Tell me why. Not actually aiming for anything. You just tested out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, should we see what even more steering does?
Helpful to see that as well.
It's helpful.
You won't get obviously, but
Well, you might do. Get a car with that if you want. A lot of cars have got cameras now. What we don't want to do is stare at it.
yeah.
Because it can only gives us a very small view of what's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It also can confuse people.
Yeah.
Good. Go around in a big circle. So if I pause you for a second, have you noticed that if you keep your steering on, we just keep turning and turning and turning?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's reverse into. Can you see that gap between the swans and the hedge? Somewhere over there. Okay, just have a look in.
Yeah. So between like the central island and the
Yeah,
swans.
almost. So yeah, let's just reverse as if we're gonna almost like if you were driving down that road. Let's reverse down that road. Actually, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's make it even more interesting. Let's reverse around the island. Okay?
Give it a go.
Let's have a little loop. Trust those instincts with that steering wheel. If you feel you need to twitch the turn like steering wheel, then go for it.
Where the island is.
Over here.
There. I'll be able to go that way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, big loop around it. Yeah. Yeah, just keep those checked over your shoulders as well. Don't want to rely on that camera.
Yeah.
Because actually, if I was doing this reverse, I think I would be focused more over my shoulders than the camera.
Yeah.
Now, what I want you to do, if I stop you a second, so obviously we're reversing around the thing quite nicely. Can you see? Let's reverse down between those hedges over there. Like there's a little goal to get through those.
This one here, yeah?
So as if we were gonna, like, you know, if we were driving out of the car park now, we drive down that road. We're gonna do that backwards.
Yep. It definitely feels very different on the hill.
Yeah.
Because I've completely got my foot off the brake pedal.
It just sort of kick in eventually, doesn't
Yeah.
it? But if it didn't, you could always just add a bit of gas. Now what's it gonna do though? Because we're going
Shut
slow.
off. Yeah.
Good. Good. I like the fact you're trying to work it out. How's it going for you here?
Yeah, fine.
Cool. Have a look in your right mirror for me.
Yeah, I'm a bit close this side.
Okay. Good, keep going. Okay, so I can see what you're doing here. If I just stop you a second.
Yep.
You keep going left to get us over here, and then instantly turning back to the right, which just kind of puts us back in.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we've got an angle here that if you look behind you, if you go back in a straight line, you're just going to go through those spaces, aren't you?
Yeah.
So if we see the difference, so it doesn't always have to be left or right. You could just see you're tempted to turn right there, and I'm not sure why. Is it because you feel like you're on an angle?
It just feels a lot closer, I think.
If it's close to that side, you want to go that way anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, look at all the space we have over here. Just let it go into the middle. I don't think you need to do anything right now. It's heading in the right place. Like, if you look in your mirrors now, you've got a gap on that side, you've got an even bigger gap this side. So you're trying to work too hard, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, if we pause when we get between these next one.
Yeah.
Okay, and next challenge is I want to reverse around and then back down that way.
Yep.
So we're going to go that way around you.
Yep.
So I think possibly what we learnt there is sometimes just go back straight.
Yeah.
Like aim your car and then reverse towards it, particularly on these long distance ones. Yeah. Okay. Just be aware of the front there. Can you see that?
Yeah.
It's fine. But it's something that sometimes we do need to be. Now, remember, I said we don't really care where the front goes,
Yeah.
apart from when it's really close to
Yeah.
something. So your goal here is to point the back of the car nice and steady. Point the back of the car towards. No, so don't use the camera because the camera seems to be throwing you here. Point the back of the car towards that space, that gap. Yeah. Where's that gap? What's happened there? Is that where you wanted it to go?
No.
Okay. What are you thinking? Where do you want the car to go? Point which direction?
That way.
Okay, steer that way then. Always steer where you want to go. Let's move it a little bit. Good, isn't it? Yeah, so we're always steering in the direction that most of the time the direction we're looking, because you tend to look where you want to go. So if you steer that way, you tend to be in the right. Because it'd be weird for you to look over the right shoulder now to try and judge. Like, you might want to check your right shoulder to make sure you're not going to run anyone over. But you see, it sort of, you naturally look where you want to go.
Yeah.
You tend to steer that way.
I think we've got a little bit confused.
Yes, we can. I can. So brake in there. Now what do we get? That's it. So you pointed the car in the direction you want, and then you go back in that straight line. And You don't necessarily need to do that in this particular moment, but you might then also tweak it a little bit if you needed to.
Yeah.
That's when you do smaller steers rather than those big turns. Going well so far. Kind of weird loopy loop. Shall we try and finish in a space?
Yeah.
See what happens.
I think.
Okay. What are you thinking about?
Just how to judge like which space I'm going into.
Don't matter right now. Just finish the space.
No.
Okay. You've got a billion to choose from.
Yeah.
Just whichever one it ends up aiming towards.
That way.
Good. Watch this. Good. Stop looking forwards. Just as a bit of advice. I can see what you're trying to do, but it doesn't work.
No.
Um,
Oh, it could be completely different.
It could be, but also it's just not a very good idea, good way to judge what to do with the back of the car.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the reason you look forward is you're searching for information about where the space is.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were looking in this mirror that was giving you a bit of information, because I'm guessing you can see the line.
Yeah.
Can you see the line on that side?
Kind of.
Circle mirror.
Yeah.
We use that bit of information and see if that helps. You see the circle mirror on this side as well.
Yeah.
Cool. So using comparing those two, keep working out what you need to do.
See about that?
Okay. Get a little bit close, further back from it.
Yeah.
So if you just, I'll tell you the best thing to do here, keep the wheel straight. If you've done a good, just literally need to go closer to the back of the space. Best thing to do is, you could cheat and use the camera,
Yeah.
but, I say cheat, there's nothing wrong with using the camera if you have a camera, but I want you to be able to do both.
Yeah.
So if you have a look over your right shoulder, so your side, look where the curve is, and just get as close as you dare.
See about that?
That's exactly what I would have done on the camera. Original. Yeah. So that just shows you can judge it and trust yourself. If you look in the two mirrors here, how do you feel like you are in the space?
A bit closer that side.
But in?
Yeah.
Good. That's a good first attempt to parking, isn't it? Yeah, so with us being a bit closer, on the way back, did you notice we were a bit closer to this? Well, like, did you feel like we were gradually getting
Yeah, I
closer?
did want to put it in drive so I could straighten out a little bit.
Okay, that is an option.
Yeah.
What else could you have done with the fact we were getting too close to the side on the way back?
Straighten up a little bit while I was still turning in. Or while I was parking, just straighten up.
Simplify it for me. So you can only do left or right with the steering wheel, can't you?
Yeah.
It only goes two ways. So you're a bit close to this side. What could you have done with the steering wheel?
Yeah,
I think when people start talking about straightening it up earlier and all this sort of thing, I think that overcomplicates it.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to just talk in terms of more that way or more that way. Yeah. So yeah, you feel like you're too close, and you didn't have full steering to the right on. You had a lot of steering, but not maximum steering. And I think as you were coming in, if I was doing that, I'd have looked in this and gone, "Ooh, that's getting a bit close over there." Bit more steering, and that would have just dragged us that way a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Nothing wrong with going forward if you need it, but if you can fix it on the way back. So if you'd have been a bit too close to that side, you move us this way a little bit. Mm-hmm. That's going to make your life a lot easier by just making those little baby adjustments on the way back. Okay. It's a weird parallel. We're parking it. We started there. Went right round there, looped around there, through there, around there, parked. Can you imagine if that was like how everyone parks in car parks every single time? Yeah. So what did you learn from park, like all that reversing? What have you noticed?
Just to take it slow if I need it.
Good. Did you feel like it went fast at any points?
Tiny bit.
Couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not by much, but I think as I was transitioning from flat to downhill.
Good. That's what I was going to ask.
Up a bit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So that is something you really have to pay attention to when we're doing reversing, because it will. Quite often, if we're doing this, like say at the side of a road, the road naturally cambers down towards the curb. It's designed for rain, so the rain hits and then goes to the drains. But what it means is if you're reversing towards the curb, you're quite often falling down a hill. Yeah. So you've got to be ready to sort of catch that. Obviously, up and down like hills would override that a little bit. But if it's a flattish road, the camber's going to have an effect on your speed. Yeah. And car parks, obviously, they can be up and like this one. Yeah, it's on a hill. So if we were reversing up towards those, it would. Like when we were reversing up there, it was like had the opposite, wasn't it? You were like, "Oh, come on, car, get on with it." And then a second we started, like it was like as we went around that bend, wasn't it? A second you started coming around a little bit, it was like, "Oh, off I go." So just maybe got to predict that so that you're not like rescuing it. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you noticed? So that's like the speed. Anything about the steering that you noticed? No. What about things like how did you make, like when you were making decisions on when and how to turn, how did that feel?
Yeah, all right.
Did you find it quite natural? Because I remember when we first said, you said it was all like opposite.
Yeah.
Did it feel opposite?
No.
No. Good.
I think I had one bit over here where it kind of confused me for a second.
Got in your head?
Yeah.
I wonder what you did differently there to make that.
Don't know.
Normally, and I don't know the answer, but normally it's something to do with you suddenly start thinking about the front of the car or something like that, and everything flips in your mind and goes the wrong way around. It's why when we were coming in, I was suggesting not to look ahead of those spaces. Because, well, first of all, they're not in line here. That's a good point. So they're not exactly in line with those spaces. So that's going to massively throw you. Could you nailed it, and then you look in your mirrors and go, oh, what's happened here? So that's part of it. But also, the second you start looking at that front of the car, your mind gets flipped with the steering wheel, and that's when you start steering the wrong way in the wrong moments. Okay. Now, in the middle of it, and I said that it didn't matter at the time, you said about it was like I don't know when to start turning to judge when to get in the space.
Yeah.
Okay. And like here, it doesn't matter, but obviously one day it will. Yeah. Because there might be cars either side, and you'll need to know when to start turning. How did you work it out, or did you just guess?
I just started going for it and just heading towards the space. Well, that one.
Yeah, okay, good. Right, interestingly, what you've sort of stumbled across here it is quite difficult, I think, from where we were to judge when to start turning to get into a space, because we were facing down the road, so we weren't really facing any of the spaces. Okay. When you see, say, friends or parents do this sort of reversing, how do they do it?
They go past the space,
Yeah,
and then reverse back into it.
yeah. So when they go past the space, do they swing out or do they just stop in a straight line?
Stop in a straight line and then.
So like a 90-degree turn.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. It's not what most people do. There's some weird friends.
I've seen it. Because I've done parking at Exeter Chiefs.
Okay.
Most of them, they just stop and then just go whoop.
Okay. This is not the majority of the population. I think
it's because it's quite small spaces. That might be
possibly. Why. Yeah. So you mean to say, for example, if they're going in there, you're thinking they stop there, or do they stop like that?
Probably stop like that.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just maybe as being okay. Good. That's what we're going to aim for, because if you think about it here, the back of the car is facing the space. Yeah. Whereas here, which is where we started, it's facing down here.
Yeah.
So it's then really difficult to judge when to. And actually, if you think what ends up happening is you reverse to there anyway. So why not start there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then my guess is that's what you see. You see people, like you say, drive slightly past the space, and then they actually probably swing out, because that means they're doing half the job forwards, and then finish it off on the way back. Yeah. Okie doke. Does that make more sense?
Yep.
Okay. Should we go give that a go?
Yeah.
When we swing out, so again, let's pick this space here. When we swing out, how will you know when's enough?
Don't know.
No. Okay. Well, let's put a few places. So, like, for you, would that be the? Like, let me just clarify which space we're going for. So, we're going for that one. Would that be the right place?
No.
Let's go. What about there? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. That. Why is it okay? You're right, but why?
Because the back's facing the space.
Good. Probably gone a bit into here. So if these guys were here, they'd be a bit upset.
Yeah.
But they weren't, so that's fine. Okay. What about that? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back's facing the
Good. So think about that answer you keep giving me.
Yeah.
The back is facing the space. Okay. Now, when you're sat here, though, that might be a bit tricky to spot.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're sat here, where do you think you could look to notice that the back is facing the space? Probably a couple of places you can look.
Two smaller mirrors.
Well, that mirror is going to be this side of the car, so it's not going to really
see.
But this mirror will.
Yeah.
Because you'll be able to see, you should be able to see down the mirror towards the space like that. Okay. Potentially also over your shoulder.
Yep.
Looking behind you. Okay. Right, so that's giving you a couple of things to think about. Let's go park.
Yeah.
Okay. Literally anywhere you want. So, but all I want you to try and do, like, pick any space you want, but what you really want you to focus on is, as we twist away from the space, have a look in those mirrors, see if you can go, right, yeah, this feels like I can reverse into the space. Okay?
Yeah.
Right, let's go for it. Get rid of all the warning things. Oh, I didn't tell you about windscreen washer this time.
Mm.
Did you have a moment of forgetting how to drive forwards then?
No. It's because it was a hill start, so it's just figuring out what to put on.
Yeah, no, oh no, that bit was fine. Yeah, I meant your steering wheel went a bit weird.
reverse like normal.
Yeah. Before you move, just make sure we're safe to move.
Yeah.
That sounded like a cow. I suppose it's cow days. Okay, let's forget about the fact that the space is finished. You want to try and fix the angle? Backwards.
Try and fix it like that.
Yeah, like we're obviously going to go into the space behind
Yeah.
us, but let's just focus on finishing in a straight line then. Let's just see if we can sort that out. This would be fine, by the way, normally, but we're practicing, so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out which way to turn.
Yeah.
Best way to work it out, first of all, like, the best way, again, anytime you're trying to work out which way to turn, look that way.
Yeah.
Because it'll really make it more natural. So now, which way do you think you should turn?
Exactly.
See how it instantly gets you to
Yeah.
steer the right way? Is that your angle sorted?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, wheels back straight then. It's weird here because those bays are a bit wonky, aren't they?
Well, one line was longer than the other. It threw me off like a little bit.
It's very near. Right, cool,
Engine.
pop it into park. We'll leave the engine on, that's fine. Good, take it off the road. Just once we're in park. Car secured. How easy was that to fix the straight line thing?
Yeah, pretty easy.
When you look the right way?
Yeah.
So if we're going that way, we focus on that side of the car. If we're going this way, we focus on this one. Talk me through your choices of like when to steer, which space you went for. Were you debating which space at one point, or?
Yeah, I think I went past one, so I was like, oh, I'm a bit too far out to reverse into it.
Okay.
So then I picked this one.
Okay. So you went for like a longish reverse into here. Is that what you mean? Like a loop around and like curve.
I think I didn't have enough. When I went, I think I was going to go originally for the one next to me.
Okay.
I kind of went a bit too far past it, so it was really tight turning.
Okay.
So I went a bit further along, so it gave me a bit more easier time.
Okay. Cool. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I think again, without any parameters, because there was none, it was just put the car wherever you want. I think what you've done is you've aimed the car at the back of the space. You adjusted your steering on the way back. Yeah, so you did less steering, and I think you did more later on.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about back there. Like if you have a look at it and make those adjustments, yeah, done good there. Like it might not work in a tighter, like not necessarily tighter car park. This car park's actually, if this car park was full of cars, it'd be a really tight car park. The spaces aren't big, and the gap over there is not very big either, so it would feel like a tight car park. You wouldn't necessarily be able to do that long, gentle curve into this space. But then there wasn't anybody there, so you were able to do that, so it's fine. So yeah, we maybe go and have a look at it, with some cars around, so that you can try and work out how to adjust for those cars being there. Okay. Is that what we want? Should we go and do that? Should we go and try it in a car park with a few more cars around? So many cars nearby down there. We can maybe use those cars. That'd be really nice. They come back and find a learner parking next to them in the world's emptiest car park. They'll be like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, should we go and park next to one of those cars?
Yeah.
Okay. See how that makes a difference to our decision making. This way. So we don't use this one.
Yeah, it's quite a. We've got the bollard.
You don't have to drive to the bollards. Okay, let's just actually stop a second. What would you do if that car space next to that silver car was the only space left in the car park?
So, this side or
the other side?
Right of it. Maybe go past the bollard and then come in like that.
Like a really tight right angle sort of kind of thing. Yeah.
So you come in backwards through the bollards and swing around.
Swing it in tight. Yeah. You'd have to steer before you back end and got past it, because you'd almost want to be clipping, like not clipping, but as close to the curb as possible. Yeah, okay, I'd agree. I don't think actually you'd get in one go.
No.
I think you'd turn in, you potentially would, because you're going to have to miss the curb. That would mean you're probably naturally going to you'd be aiming at the car, but you'd go as far back as you dared, and then you'd be able, by that point you'd be able to then go forward towards this green bush, and then it'd be a lot straighter reverse. Cool. Right. Okay. We won't do that. We'll go find one of the other cars. Maybe this one on the left actually.
Yeah.
Very weird, these people who are parked here. Like, what are they?
Completely randomly.
Yeah. Why are they here? Why are they parked miles away? Maybe they don't like parking, and they come over here to avoid being near anyone else. Oh, there's a great one over there in a minute that we're going to park between two.
Oh yeah.
So let's go and park next. Either side, don't mind which side you choose.
I think it's going to be a bit easier on the other side.
He's pointing the back of the car towards where you want to go. Cool. Done. Follow this one over.
That way. Can I just not see the markings?
Yeah, I think. I'm just park near them. Don't worry too much about the white line.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling it's either one really big space or the road markings are a bit faded.
Alright, to put it in park and
Drive.
drive.
Yeah, do what you need. Maybe have a look, see if we're safe first then, before we start driving off places. Yeah, come on, let's carry on.
Yeah, it's just straighten up a bit.
That's because I hold. Just tap the gas. Just tap the gas to release the hold function. And then straight back to the brake.
I'm kind of in the middle.
Yep. Cool. Engine off. Cool. Talk me through that one then. What happened? What would you do differently? You go through what happened first?
Yeah. I think maybe I'll swing out. I think I went a bit too far.
Too far over there?
Yeah.
Okay. So it creates this like long reverse back.
Yeah.
Where would have been a better place to aim?
Probably kind of across that space there.
Yeah.
So an angle, so I'm facing this way.
Good. Yeah, so that's one thing to sort of think about. One thing you need to take into account there is when you're driving down past this car, bring your car over to this side, because then it gives you room to swing over there. You were already sort of over there, so you didn't have any room to go. Okay, that's good. Notice that. Well done. Then anything else that you would have done differently? So obviously we started reversing right this way. Anything you would have done differently about the reversing?
I think I'm going to put more steering on towards the end.
Okay. Which way? Or for what reason?
Just so that I could straighten out a bit easier instead of having to keep popping into drive to kind of straighten out properly.
Yeah, I like the fact you've noticed that. Yeah, you put like a baby little bit of steering on, and what's going to happen is just the car's not going to get round in time. Yeah, okay. Yes, I think good. I think you picked up the two things that were in my head actually, which was we started half a mile away, and we needed to be probably. I think in general just a bit more extreme with the steering. So actually, this is maybe where when we were over there, just driving in a big circle around the car park. A lot of the time, your steering is going to be small because you've got ages to twist the car.
Yeah.
This one now, if we're going from there to there and doing a lot of manoeuvring with the car, it's going to be more steering because you need it to get where you want it to be earlier, so that you've got then time to twist it back into a straight line in time before you get to the curb. So a good example actually, when you went forward the first time, and we were still sat over here, which is actually almost where you should have started the whole manoeuvre. Not quite, but pretty much. You then realised you still needed to get that way a little bit, and you just did that little tiny turn, and we just weren't going to get there early quick enough. So that's where I'd have had like a big amount of steering on in that direction. That would have really dragged us over there, and then it would have, because you've done the big steering that way, it'll be big steering back, and then you'd have got in that straight line in time. Yeah. So maybe just test that out a little bit. Don't just randomly put loads of steering on.
Yeah.
But just have it there in your head where you're thinking, oh, I really need to get over there. And so if that's happening, that's when the steering kicks in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shall we pick an should we go between the two cars? Do you want to do that? Or is that? Or do you want to maybe loop round and try this one again?
I'll give this one another go.
Yeah, because now you've got an idea where to aim for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just drive through those spaces.
As I was looking at that one, I was like, okay, aim about there.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, so just do a loop around, go down the car park a little bit so that you feel like you're driving like we were a minute ago. Okay. Yep.
I do have a question actually.
Go.
Before we get off. How do you know if, like, say you've done reversing and your steering wheel's like a full rotation, say left or right?
That's a great question.
How do you know?
If I blindfolded you, got you in the car and went, right, I've done something with the steering wheel, go work it out. The answer is you don't.
Yeah.
There is no magical way. How can you avoid that? Just pop it back into park while we finish. Okay, good. So, how can you avoid that being a problem ever? Like in your own daily life?
Straightening your wheels before you...
When you finish?
Yeah.
And if you look at most cars, leave their wheels straight. Yep. And that's because then you know you're just in the habit of leaving them straight. So that's a really good example of why we straighten up when you finish. Okay, have you? And I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah.
The other thing is, what might be the issues with leaving your cars your wheels at an angle? Like if you look at these people's tyres, if they were sticking out a bit.
Oh, yeah, that's like the next space, potentially.
Potentially in the space, yeah. It's just the fact they're exposed to the world a little bit. Might get a bit damaged for whatever reason. Somebody might like hit them on the way past or something like that. Yeah. So another good reason to keep them nice and straight. So yeah, that's kind of your answer, is don't leave yourself in that problem.
Yeah.
But it can happen. Like maybe you've done like a parallel park and you deliberately left the wheels facing the curb so that they rolled into the curb if your handbrake failed, something like that. So there are times where you might leave your steering. So the next part to the question, and actually we're going to test this out. So if you pop it into drive again, without moving, just do one turn around to the left for me. Just turn the wheel around. Yeah, one round that way. Okay, so now it looks the same, okay?
Yeah.
We know it's not, but it looks the same. And let's say you've just got in the car and you've asked me that question, just move 2-3 inches. Stop.
There you go.
So instantly you would know.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to use that feeling on the way back, actually, because sometimes what happens when we talked about finishing the wheel straight, sometimes what happens is people stop and they go, oh, the wheel's straight. and because they've forgotten what they were just doing because they've stopped. But actually, if you do it on them, if you straighten the wheels before you come to a stop, you feel the car twisting, and you instinctively do the steering. Okay. Yep. Good question. Cool. Right, let's go. Oh, hello. Let's go around and do the loops. If you go a bit further forward, because otherwise you would be coming round at a weird angle. If you think about it in real life, you would never be twisting like that. You'd be driving down the car park.
Yeah.
So just go a bit further forward, and then now we'll swing around, and then we can just imagine that we're driving down the car park, and the space next to this person is the only space in the world. Okay. So remember what we talked about, trying to if you get over here, you'll have more room to swing out.
Without hitting the car?
Yep. Nice and steady here. Think about where you wanted. You said you were going to push the car around to. Good. So is it pointing to the space?
I believe it is.
Okay. Make sure there's someone going down that road. Steer where you want it to go. Remember to try to look over the shoulders, that might help you know that you're going the right way. What's happening in your head at the moment? It seems like a battle with this, like you want to do both.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Oh, I want to get to there.
You want to get there.
I'm over here.
Right. But are you also fighting with the fact you feel like you need to twist to be in a straight line?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that happening. Like you want to steer right to get over that way. You want to steer left to get in a straight line.
Yeah.
That is again partly caused by the fact we went too far over there again. So we're actually having to fight to get back to where we just came from. Whereas if we'd have twisted earlier, we'd already be over here. Okay. Okay, let's do the two, and this is doable, but I'm going to get you to do a bit more extreme steering now. Okay. So the first job, there isn't always the first job is aim for the space. Okay, because there's no point being in a straight line if you're not in the space.
Yeah.
Okay. So our first job is you said to me you want to get over there. Yeah. So steer that way, but I want you to steer as much as you can. That's not as much as you can.
Yeah.
That's as much as you can. Keep going. Keep going a little tiny bit more. Cool. Now, brake. Now, I want you to steer this way as much as you can. Just do a little tiny bit of movement there for me. You can do that steering. That's it. Keep going much as you can, much as you can. There you go. Now, it's not going to quite make it because we left it a bit late to fix it. But can you see how, just with those little, we didn't move very far. Keep going and go all the way to the cab because it'll nearly make it.
Yeah.
Here you go. You've still got some room. Just a little tiny bit more. Good. Okay. So with that, with that little bit of time, the car's gone bump, jumped over. If we'd have done that further over there, easy. Okay. So we're now going to carry on that. So we'll pop it into drive, and we're going to go forward, but we want to go towards that hedge. Yeah.
That way.
Yeah. So because you want the car to twist, don't you? So big turns, big. That's it. Move the car a little bit, and you'll feel where it's taking you. Yeah, okay, move the car. Okay. Okay, see that's bringing us quite nicely round.
Yeah.
It's not faffing about, is he? And then wheels straight. Good. And then we just go back. Cool. Pop. Good. So I took over a little bit there, just to sort of help you.
Yeah.
Switch engine off again. The car's just working a bit hard. Just to show you what happens when you turn a bit more. Okay. So did you see that was what was happening? You at no point did you turn the wrong way, for what I could see was happening. What you were thinking.
Yeah.
Like so you.
Bit late.
Yeah, late, not enough.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Just really need to make it happen. So where did we start the manoeuvre?
Over there.
It's about like 3 or 4 spaces down that way.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Where do we want to start the manoeuvre?
Probably just here.
That's facing that space would be perfect. Probably unrealistic in most car parks,
Yeah.
so probably the second space. But it shouldn't be, and this is possibly where your issue was. It shouldn't be about forwards. When we came along the space, I felt like you were focused on driving, like where we're going over there. But remember, it's about where the back is facing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you come along past the space, think, has my back gone past yet? Yeah. And then when you're swinging out, have a look in this mirror. Go, am I pointing towards the space yet? Because there was probably a moment there where you were pointing towards the space and you just carried on driving. But all that means is you're going to have to unravel that on the way back. The further down there you go, the more you got to come back. Yeah. So really sort of kind of as you're swinging out, have a think about where is the back facing? Am I pointing it towards that space? Okay. Do you have another go?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then. When we come back past next time, I might just get you to slow down so we can think about it a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see if there's any cars coming down that road?
No.
No, you can't see, or no, there's no cars?
No, I can't see that
Okay.
side, so I'm going to creep forward a little bit so I can see.
Good. Can you see ultimately, even though we're doing all this sort of messing around with the steering wheel and playing around, working out what to do, safety's number one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody coming down the road? Good. So, like we did before, get close to the car. And in your words, without hitting it. Good. That's it, yeah, cool. Really kill that speed. And then a little bit further forward, because we're not quite past the space, are we?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do. So now we are past the space, yeah? Now we just chuck that steering round nice and sharp to the right. So we're going to use our extremes a little bit here, okay? Yeah, keep it on. Right, this is not about what happens over there. I don't care about over there unless I'm going to hit anything. Have a look in your mirror. Is it pointing towards the space now?
A little bit.
Have a look at your left shoulder. Do you think you could twist into that space?
Yeah, I think I could.
Okay, put it into reverse. See if we can. Can you see we're not all the way over there now? It's going to be a much shorter reverse this.
Yeah.
Good. Let's have a look around. already feeling a bit easier.
A lot easier.
Any reason you put extra steering on there?
Looks like I'm a little bit too close to this car.
Okay. Good. It does leave it with the right straight. It's not overcomplicate a pretty good manoeuvre. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. When you went to do that steering to the right then and I stopped you, what was your reasoning?
Just to straighten up a little bit.
Okay. And which way is the back heading? At the moment? You're right, it's very slightly wonky. But which way do you think the back's heading?
That way.
You think turn around? Is it? You think the back's going this way? Which way's the front heading?
I'm confused.
So have a look ahead of you. Which way is the front of the car going?
That way.
So which way's the back going?
That way.
So which way would you turn?
That way.
That would make you go more that way though, wouldn't it? Lost you. So you're basically like that. Okay. So which way's the back of your car going in that situation? Actually, you might as well do it the actual way. So your car's like that at the moment. So which way's the back of the car? Which line's the car going to hit?
This one.
So which way would you turn?
That way.
Away from it. Yeah. It's just that little twist that way. Yeah. Whereas you were going to go right.
Yeah. I just got a bit confused.
Would have made it worse. Yeah. So that, I wonder if there you had that little moment, because particularly when you don't feel like you're in a straight line, it tends to come from seeing forwards.
Yeah. Might have been that.
And that's when it throws you with the steering wheel. You make decisions based on what you can see ahead of you. I wonder if it's better to think about it in terms of which line are you heading towards. So it's hard to work out because you're basically in a straight line. But if you did continue going back, eventually it'd be that line that you would hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why it's this way to turn. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. A bit, and actually this, I suppose actually this shows that it is the looking forwards that confuses it, because halfway through that manoeuvre you did a bit of left steering and I said why, and you said because you felt like you were too close to the car, so you instinctively turned away from the car. Yeah. So if you make those decisions about that, your instincts will kick in correctly. Okay. Okay. What was different about that manoeuvre?
A lot easier.
Okay,
I
good.
found.
Why?
Because it was just putting on the steering once, then moving, and then adjusting when I'm pretty much in the space.
Yep, it's easier to see where you are as well, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. No. So what did we do differently to make that easier? What was the main difference in our manoeuvre then?
Being closer to the space,
Mhm.
not having to come back a lot.
So we were a bit more precise, weren't we, when we were setting up? Yeah. So you can see how important it is to get that first bit right.
Yeah.
Because it sets you up for like an easy or a difficult manoeuvre. If you get that set up wrong, it can make the whole difference when it comes to the manoeuvre. Okie doke. So yeah, we set up a bit nicer. On the way forward, again, I was sort of pointing out to you to look in this mirror. We even had a look at your left shoulder, didn't you? I think the left shoulder was what sealed the deal for you, wasn't it? We were like, actually, I can twist into that space.
Yeah.
So yeah, just have a think about those things. Think about where you need to look to be able to make the decision. Yeah, where's the information for you? Okie doke. So, do you think you're ready for between the two cars?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we've been reversing on the left, haven't we? So actually, the best thing for us to do here is to exit the car park here, go down, and then turn down that line so that it's like, oh, we're coming into the car park. Oh, look, there's a nice space near the entrance. And then we'll take it. Cool, let's go for it. Stay close to them.
Yep.
Bit closer, bit closer. Give yourself more room. Okay. Are you past them? Are you past the space yet before you stop? So, so don't turn yet, and then good. Now you passed them. Where are you going? Okay, swing out. Because now you are past it, yeah. So if you swing out before you passed it, the back won't end up where you need it to be.
Yeah.
Where are we looking? Good. So when you're driving forwards, looking behind you.
Yeah.
What I did like is even though there's nothing here in front of us, you instinctively had a little look ahead to make sure we weren't going into something, which is great because actually quite often there is a car here that you need to be wary of. Okay.
Without the camera.
Yeah. Sorry. I didn't realise you were using the camera.
Oh no, it's just in my head, like turning left. That helps. So
Okay.
I can see like turning left.
You
I'm
see
going
them that's
that way.
moving. Fair enough.
Whereas I just wanted to make sure that I got it in my head.
Yeah, cool. Oh, you on hold? I wonder why we're moving.
Yeah.
So oh, okay, you've just released hold actually, so we'll take it off. We'll talk about the hold function in a minute because you keep accidentally putting it on. Probably through fear. Anybody coming into the car park? Don't forget there was a lady on a phone earlier when we drove past, so we'll just keep an eye out for her.
Backwards apparently.
So
So yeah, how close I was to this car.
you can see that in the mirror though, can't you?
Yep. Well, I was asking myself a question and the beeping told me the answer. Can we keep going?
What, is there air between us and them? You're going to be close because you're parking next to them. But is there a gap between us and them? Like you can physically in the mirror you can see space, can't you? Yeah. Good. I was just wondering what point you can remember there was a car on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
So stop a second. What are you thinking?
I need to keep turning a bit more where I am to kind of straighten out a bit.
Okay. You're right, but I don't. Again, let's not think about the front of the car. Which car are you going to hit in a minute? If the car carried on going back like this.
That one.
This side? Or that side?
That side.
Yeah, your back end's getting close to that guy, isn't
Yeah.
he? So which way are you going to turn?
So I want to go
Away from him or towards him?
away from him.
Okay, so stay away from him. away from him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't think about the that happens naturally. If you aim between the lines or between the cars, you will end up in a straight line. So don't even have to think about this, it just happens. Now what?
Now, straighten up and go back. Alright.
How was that?
Better than I thought it was going to be.
It's quite a tight space actually. This car particularly is quite close
Yeah.
to the line. So yeah, well done. Park the car. Nailed it. Who'd have thunk first time parking, reversing ever, and you just park in between two cars. Cool.